Okay, so we're recording. Welcome everybody to our webinar on online participation and digital literacies. So I'm Sinead and this is Jörg.
Hello everyone.
Hello. And together we'll take you through for the next hour or so. Sorry for the late start, technical difficulties, but great to see you all here. So Jörg, take it away there.
Take it away. Shall I take away? So yeah, I need to take a deep breath because I had just a webinar as part of the Open Education Week, and this was really an adrenaline pump with the Zoom room and not working. Yeah, thanks for being here. Warm welcome. I just want to give you a big background from where Sinead and I met. We've been travelers together in the ONL191 in the autumn. Both Sinead and I were co-facilitator of the ONL PBL Group 9. And we had a great session. It was a great adventure, and it actually we learned a lot about participating online and what it means to be digital literate and what's important. And the most important, I think, and this is what happens now, is to be brave and to see things and take things how they come. When you're on a hike out there, maybe a brown bear will hop up on your way, and you have to make the best out of the situation. And as we did now, together with you, and this is the awesome part, we quickly changed webinar rooms within 5 minutes. And I don't know how many participants we have now here. We have 37 here. This is probably we're missing a few out there. Hopefully they will join on in a second, but this probably will happen with digital technology sometimes, and we should be prepared for this, and we have to, as teachers, work with this. And one thing in particular we want to share, I guess, from that experience in the autumn was we had one participant who came up with the idea to use one tool for each new topic. Or how was this, Sinead?
Yes, we had a real explorer in our group, and she decided that when every topic was done, she'd go and have a look and see what the other PBL groups had done and what tools they'd used. And she used that for inspiration. So for every topic, she would come back and say, right, we need to use a new tool. What'll it be this week? And that was really fun, and it pushed us outside our comfort zones. It made us think further than PowerPoint. And, you know, I suppose the thing is, it's normal to start within our comfort zone and to use a tool that we know will work and we know won't take us an awful lot of time to learn to use. And that's fine for the first week or two. But after that, this is a really safe space where we can try something new. Our professional reputations are not on the line. It's not going to not work in front of our students or in front of our colleagues. So it's really fun to try something new. It really is part of the grand adventure of ONL, just to stretch it that little bit. And part of the reason we chose this image to talk about our PBL experience last year is, if you look at the backpacks that everybody has brought something with them on the adventure. And even if you feel like you're really unsure, don't know where to click or what it is that you really want to get from the ONL course yet, you've brought something with you: experience, curiosity, your presence, just by being here, listening, learning, being open to new experiences. That's all part of it. So we hope that as we all build our digital literacies, that the grand adventure of ONL is exactly that. A lot of fun and a lot of good memories with great people.
Exactly. And of course, we would like to make this webinar very interactive. And we like you to get into the writing mode and locate the chat window, because we would like you to share some experiences, or what you think about these questions. What irritates you the most about digital technology? And this is why I maybe said this Zoom hiccup was by design, but it definitely was not. What do you enjoy the most about digital technology? If you could just share a few things in the chat room, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, if you like technology, if you enjoy it, then it's very easy to say, I'll be brave today and I'll try something new. If you're a little uncertain, or if you've had a negative experience with it, or you've tried something and it was clunky, then, it's normal to say, no, I'll stick with what I know, thanks. So in many ways, I think technology is a bit like people. Some you love and it's very energizing to spend time with, and some, well, you just accept it, warts and all, even though there's a lot you might like to change about it. So let's see. I'll just open up the chat here.
Yeah.
When they don't work as expected. Yes. I wouldn't say there was mad panic in the ONL team this morning at about 10 to the hour, but I would say we're all glad that we're here now.
Yeah.
And that's the way with technology. Sometimes it doesn't work as expected. But you know what? It'll be a hiccup. Nobody's going to die as a result of it. We'll find another way. Non-intuitive interfaces, poor implementation and service. Don, absolutely, I'm with you there. Navigation and that ease of use is really important. If things don't work or are badly designed, yeah, absolutely. Jorge, when technology works fine, I don't even think about it. And isn't that the ideal scenario? Yeah, absolutely. Patrick, often leads to too much focus on tech and less on context and reflection. And that's a really important point, yeah. Because sometimes you do see pushing of technology or this tool or that tool without a focus on the purpose and the context, and really thinking about why it is that this might be suitable for my purpose, for my students, for my colleagues. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Eric. Connectivity, to be able to communicate with anyone, anywhere. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're all testament to that in all our different places, even all those of you who moved to San Francisco a few minutes ago. Instant reply. Yeah, absolutely. And we're so used to that now, aren't we? It's kind of unsettling if you don't hear from somebody until the next day sometimes. Okay, so irritating, the unpredictability, yes. And like speed, yes, Levan, absolutely. Miriam, irritations. People often think that there's a right way and a wrong way to use it, or to find a way through tools and paths. Yes, exactly. Does there have to be a right way? I mean, is there a right way to have a meeting in a Zoom room? Are cameras on? Are cameras off? Does it matter? It matters if your bandwidth is implicated, but other than that, yeah, it really is context-driven and meaningful, as long as it works for you. Yeah. Shantanu, virtual connection with people from all over is simply fantastic. Absolutely. And it really enables us to connect with people that we wouldn't meet otherwise, or we wouldn't be able to discuss with easily. Let's see, the fact that technical issues still prevent proper user friendliness and easy use. Yes, that can happen. And I think that's where we kind of maybe reduce down the number of tools that we use and focus in on the ones that give us the best customer service. Wow, I'd better speed up here because there's a lot. Wow. Endless updates and compatibility. Yes, Alistair, absolutely. And I'm terrible for updating stuff. So yeah. Connectivity. Yes, an echo. Digital competencies on both sides. Yes, for us and our students. Absolutely, Maria. Thanks. Florence, yeah, you're looking for something and other things come your way. Yeah, do you think that's a negative or a positive, Florence? But I do think it can be overwhelming, can't it? You're looking for, I don't know, something to just gauge reaction in your class, and you see there's 99 different things, and where do you start? Annoying with people fiddling around with tools, which may shift focus onto the tool and away from content and learning. Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're really of one mind. And here's one that caught my eye. Systems built by tech nerds, not connected with normal people. Yeah, well, I'm a normal people. And unless there's a large button on it that says click here, I'll be totally lost. So I'm with you on that one. Yeah. Yeah. International. Great. Okay. Well, thank you so much. This is fantastic. And I suppose the thing is, we're all at a certain point. But we weren't born here. We weren't born knowing how to use all these tools that we use today, how to use a Zoom room. Many of us might have learned that in the past week or so. So what Jörg and I would do is like to take you back a little bit and journey back in time until we remember how it all began. If I said the words Nokia, remember those? And we were talking about this, you know, how our own digital journey began. And for mine, a lot of mine was with joining ONL. I started to tweet properly for the first time. Not even properly, I just started to tweet terribly. Alistair still has to remind me about hashtags and things. I got a Gmail account for the first time. I had email, but not a Google Mail. I'd never used Google Drive, all that sort of thing. But even back before that, we were talking about this. Do you remember the old mobile phones? They were about this big. They weighed about 5 kilos, and you had to pull up an aerial. Remember those? Only the richest people used to have those in the early 90s anyway. Just talking about it, a lot of stories came out, and we're sure that you have lots and lots of great stories too. So in a moment, we'll set you up in breakout rooms so that you can have a chat about that. And Jörg is going to talk us through, because he has something really special planned for this as well.
Yeah, just 1 second. Yeah. I have, we continue the interactivity now, but now we're moving you, as Sinead said, into breakout rooms very quickly. But I'll give you a quick run through how we want to set this up. Because it's involving you maybe taking some notes in your breakout room and then entering an online form on the course homepage. All right, let's get going. I'll share my screen for this, and I hope this will work. Do you see my slide now?
Yes, but they're not in presentation mode.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Where are we? Now.
Better? Yes, that's perfect.
So, continue on what Sinead said. We would like you in a second discuss and take you back to the memory when you started with digital technology. When did you own your first computer, and what kind of was it? When did you write your first email, and do you remember to whom it was, or what was it about? Do you remember when you went online first, and what did you do? And do you remember how it looked like? And when did you own your first mobile phone, and what kind was it? And if you'd like to discuss this, we just want to continue the connecting week. We're still in the part of the course. Get to know some new people in the course, chat with them and share your experiences, and we will be able to come back to this a little bit later in our discussions. And you can maybe take some notes and discuss this. You don't need to write it in the chat room. You can do this in a second. Write some notes for you maybe when you do this in the group, because now is a next thing then. Once you discuss this for 3, 4, 5 minutes maybe, we want you to go to Open Network Learning to the course homepage /which group, and then follow the instructions there. And we hope that technology is on our side and not making any issues more for today. So here's the link also in the chat room. We'll set you up in the breakout room now, discuss those questions, and you will then, when you went to the link, see a page like this. When you go to this, which breakout room group do you belong to? And each breakout group will have a number which you will be able to see. So remember that and answer those and fill in this. And then you will get the 4 prompts here to provide a date and which event you're talking about. And then you can discuss this for one participant. And going back to the slides here, to the questions. So those were the questions. When did you own your first computer, first email, first online, and first mobile phone? And then choose the oldest or latest answer from your group. Is this clear? You will get a prompt now. Sinead will hit the magic button and you will, a good question sooner. You will get a prompt now for the breakout room. Oh, and it's not the same as your PBL groups. You will get to learn and to know new people.
You will. So what will happen is, in just a moment, you'll see a message on your screen that says you're invited to breakout room 3 or you're invited to breakout room 5. If you can remember that number, brilliant. And then when you go into the breakout room, just have a chat about your first phone, email, computer, and see what stories come out and what memories you have. And if you can put a sample of those into the link that Jörg has put into the chat, and let's see, wait till you see what will happen after when we compile it all. So have fun. Jörg and I will be around and we'll help you out. So don't worry. So we're going to have, I think 9 rooms.
Excellent.
Okay. So hope this works. We're about to find out. Okay, good luck, everybody. Did anything happen?
Yeah, people are dropping into the rooms.
Great.
You should get a prompt now, and then you need to say join. Yeah. Just Fasilat and Philip, did you get the prompt?
I got the prompt, but I decided to stay.
Okay.
Could you shut the recording for now, or pause the recording?
Slightly, slowly.
Yes.
Sorry, this form is no longer accepting new submissions.
Well, technology.
Okay, that is a new thing which not happened before. I'm sorry about this.
Literacies are being challenged this morning.
Our literacies are big time being challenged. I just can maybe show you what you supposed to, what should happen. Maria, I will get back to you on this. Any other issues for any other groups, or did most people were able to do this? I see that.
I also just got the sort of this form no longer accept new submissions message.
Okay. We are pushing boundaries here in the digital learning space, and we pushed ourselves as well. I never did this. I never did a breakout room, to be honest, in Zoom. But this is, I guess, the kind of the message what we want to convey also is like, we want to make a point with this here, and I'm coming back to this, what's possible with WordPress in your own blog and what is possible in our self-hosted WordPress site. And we want to, as this is about the digital literacies and online participation, show what you can do when you do things together. We all know Wikipedia, right, which is contributed by thousands of people and is done something collectively. Here we did another tiny little thing which we created now together, and that I just wanted to show you. Digital biographies timeline. So, and I'll just quickly go through this to show some and yeah, learn something from you, what you guys have been doing and when. So the first entry we had here was from March 6th, 1991. My first time online. Group 1. Do you want to share something more about this, or?
But group 1, we couldn't add anything. So
okay, maybe someone. Okay, that maybe someone answered for group 1, which was not group 1.
Or maybe someone in group 1, I don't know.
Maybe someone else from your group
yeah, anyway, I think our earliest online was a bit later, but never mind.
Okay. That's fascinating. What do you hear? Also from 1991, my first computer. It was, the picture is pre-populated. This is not a PC. PC Windows 2, I believe. Amazing. Any one of you want to tell us a little bit more about this? Or was it group 5?
Yeah, but I think there were others in our group that had, I think, yeah. Others in that group that had earlier. I think I misunderstood the instructions. So. Okay,
it's there's no right and wrong here. It's just a little bit of the demonstration what is possible, and to get the conversation going. How long, what happened since then? When you look at this computer, how old it was? If you remember this on the pictures, a C64 Commodore, Windows 2. I hardly remember now that I mentioned it. That you mentioned it. Let's see others. First email here at Stanford. This is amazing stuff. To my friend Phil.
That was me, Jörg.
Gregor, yeah, please tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, I moved for a short period to Stanford, and we got email addresses because you needed them to order stuff for the lab, and I was absolutely new to the concept of emails or internet. It was astonishing. Great, I loved it.
Yeah, fascinating, and that was as back as 1992, and
when
a lot of things have happened since then, and I guess we have to push ourselves continuously also. We've started. Or Sinead, do you want to take it over here from here, or? Sure,
Jörg. I suppose the point of this is twofold. One is to have a fun conversation and remember back to where it all began. And Gregor, as you spoke about there, email being such a new thing, and it was all shiny and amazing. Do we think it's amazing now? Are we a bit nervous sending our first email? Are we excited when we email somebody? Lena, talking about somebody at home getting a computer and then others having access to it. I remember at school we had to save up tokens from the supermarket so the school could get a free computer, and then we were allowed to look at it but not touch it because the teachers didn't know how to use it yet and they didn't want us to break it. So, I mean, we all have these crazy stories of right back at the beginning. And the thing is, all the emotion that was around it, whether it was positive or negative, whether things were a little bit scary or totally exciting. Now, when we think about where we are in our digital literacies and the tools that we use or that we might like to learn about and use in our work, a lot of those emotions will come through again. And I suppose the point, apart from having a fun conversation, is to say, you know, we didn't get to this point where we are using technology overnight. It took a long time for some of us. It took practice. And now the things that were once shiny and new or a little bit scary are things we don't even think about anymore. We just take them for granted. So what our hope for you is that as we all work on our digital literacies in the course of ONL, that some new tool that might be shiny and new or scary will become something that's really useful to you going forward. So I suppose, Jörg, maybe if you could bring up the slides again, please.
Yeah, definitely.
What we want to do really quickly is just take a look at a few signposts that might help you to think, okay, we're here, where do we go from here? So maybe if we move on to the next one, maybe?
Yeah.
Please, we'll bring up Doug's 8 elements. Yeah, because I think when we're looking for tools and ideas and how do we develop our own skills, you might find things like Doug Belshaw's 8 essential elements, you might find top 10s, you might find trends. Within your institution, you might have a digital strategy. Within your country, you might have a professional strategy for technology. And all of that can seem a little bit overwhelming. Somebody's having a chat with their microphone on.
Yeah, and don't forget to unmute your microphone when you want to say something.
Yeah.
If you're not talking, maybe a good idea to mute it.
Thanks, Jörg. So sometimes I think when you look at a list of 8 essentials or whatever it might be, that can seem a little bit scary and overwhelming, and you look at all these things and say, what am I supposed to do with those? And I think what's really helpful is to use these frameworks or essentials to help us reconnect with our purpose and to create our own pathway, so that for our own professional development or for choosing tools that we think will be right for a purpose we have in mind with our students, or maybe some work we're doing with our colleagues, I think that can really help. So maybe if we just take a look at the next slide, Jörg, please.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you look at all these frameworks and lists and so on, it seems like you need to do everything in order to be any good, and that you need to start from scratch, and you're supposed to be able to create whatever it is, a wonderful animation or a zingy presentation. And Jörg is going to talk about this more in just a moment. But very often we can use our digital skills with permission to remix something that's already out there. So perhaps there's something, maybe a very good document, but it might be, say, business focused and you're teaching science students. So you might well have the ability to remix that to get your point across, but to swap out the business examples for science ones that are going to resonate more with your students. But even still, it can still be a little bit woolly in what does this all mean for any of us. So if you go on again, please, Jörg. And I've come across a more recent presentation from Doug Belshaw from 2018, where he had actually taken his 8 essential elements and divided them into 4 skill sets and 4 mindsets. So he has cultural, creative, constructive, and communicative as skill sets. So within the cultural, it's around how to behave, netiquette, privacy, personal and professional use of tools, adjusting to different online environments. The creativity is, you know, how to make things, but with a focus on adding value. So maybe curating different online resources so that if you blog about them, they're all in one place for your readers and so on. Constructive, how to reuse, remix, build something possibly from scratch, possibly not. And communicative, naturally enough, how to communicate digitally, understanding your online identity, how to share things, possibly using hashtags and so on. And then the mindsets then is on the next slide, Jörg.
Yep.
Please. And the 4 mindsets then: confident, cognitive, critical, and civic. So civic, really looking at participation online, participating fully in society, perhaps participating within a democratic process. We've seen a lot of that, positive and negative. Let's see, critical, I think this is one that we focus on a lot for ourselves and for our students, knowing the difference between a reputable source and a less reputable one. Cognitive, very much knowing about tools, how to use them, how things might look different on different devices, but looking at the similarities across platforms and so on. And I think the key one to everything is confidence. And that's, I think, a lot to do with having a certain set of skills, so that you know you have a purpose for the tools you want to use. You've tested them, you're pretty sure that they will work most times. As we've seen this morning, there are no guarantees with technology, but if you're tested and if you've used it before, it does bring a lot of confidence. And also, as we've seen this morning, when you don't have to do it all on your own, it does give you the confidence. So what I would say is to use your time in ONL within your PBL group and within the wider community to build not only those digital skills, but also to build up your confidence and your network, so that you have a little group that you can bounce ideas around with and try out ideas. Jörg.
Yes. Shall we do the confident?
Yeah, I think just very, very briefly, because I think
quickly in the chat room, like if you just want to share, how confident are you these days at the moment with sharing and your digital literacies? That's perfect.
Yeah. Patrick, great. Well, we all know who we're going to come to then when we have questions around digital literacies.
No. And Florence, thanks for sharing. Fantastic. And that's a lot of us are feeling the same.
Mm. And Anne, it depends on what's being used. Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, great.
Then I have a question following up on this, maybe a little bit more specific. How confident are you using pictures from the internet and reusing and sharing them in your PowerPoint presentations when you're in a research conference or in another public space? Are you more confident or less confident in using pictures from the internet, or do you copy and paste? Perfect, done, excellent, paying attention to copyright?
Very confident and rarely worry about copyright.
Yeah, excellent. That's I do this all perfect, not so a bit of complicated one. The ownership, copyrights. Thanks, Patrick, for sharing, and Sinako, perfect. Because I would like maybe now take the next 5 minutes or so to give you a short answer and a little bit more elaborated answer. For the short answer is 10 seconds. The remainder of the long answer will be then the remaining 4 minutes and 50 seconds. When you're now blogging and writing your blog post and your flagship blog post, this is not only for the course, but also when you produce course material for your students, so much nicer if you have a picture with it. You know the saying, one picture says more than 1,000 words. And but where do you find pictures, and how can we become more confident in knowing what we are doing and not breaching copyright laws? So like I'm gonna use the next 5 minutes now to hopefully give you an idea how to become a little bit more confident. The short answer to be able to enable you, empower you to find approximately 1 million pictures which you can use totally without any worry is, for instance, those 3 links here. If you use those links and take pictures from these 3 sources, these pictures, you don't have to worry about copyright issues. And you can just copy and paste them and use them in your blogs. So this is the 10-second short answers. Pictures, go here. All right. I'm sure some of you uses them, and there's different pages like this. But these are a good maybe starting point, and will help you come a long way to spice up your blogging a little bit, for instance, for the rest of the course, or for your professional presentations in other context. The why we, Leah, why we should use pictures. Because as I said, like it's nice to add some quality pictures particularly for the course. When you connect your blog post, then automatically there will be a picture shown on the aggregating side, but also, of course, pictures are very useful in presentations to reduce text. But are you ready for the little bit elaborated answer? Yeah, then what we do, and we said this, are they not protected by, well, and this is what we're getting into, Leah, now in the elaborated answer. What is happening when we do what a lot of us do on a daily basis? What are we doing? Anyone wants to share in the chat maybe quickly? What are we committing, actually? A lot of us almost on a daily basis. No, maybe, yes, we're committing and sharing our personal life, that's for sure. Exactly, Sune. We are very much of us, also me including, we are violating copyrights. Copyright is an essential part of this, using and reusing others' pictures. What do we need to do when we want to use some pictures from someone else or any other things which we need to do? Well, we need to ask for permissions, right? Exactly. Bengt is spot on. We need, whenever we copy something from the internet, which is not copied, provided with a particular license, we have to ask the copyright owner if we can use it. Me putting something out there on the internet does not mean that everyone else is allowed to use it. If I create a work, I am the copyright owner. And if anyone wants to reuse it, they have to ask my permission, right? So the internet enables us, but copyright laws impedes it, right? We're not allowed to do this, what we usually do. A lot of times nothing happens, right? But I have actually a colleague of mine, he did this, as we all probably do. We're very stressful, we have to come up with this presentation, but we should use a picture, so we copy and paste something from Google Pictures, and what we do is we copy and paste the first big picture. A colleague of mine did this, presented this presentation at the presentation, and was unlucky that the copyright owner was sitting in the audience, and he or she was not very happy and sued my colleague. And my colleague had to pay 30,000 Swedish crowns or 3,000 euro for $4,000 or so, US dollars. Not to scare you, and it's maybe very unlikely that you're convicted for this, but we don't have to be it like this. There is an answer, and then some of you mentioned already. So the answer is Creative Commons, open licensing. And what Creative Commons does in a nutshell is turn around this process of asking and giving permission. Instead of me asking the copyright owner, can I use your pictures? We can, when we publish stuff, as we with the course homepages or other works we do, our presentations, for instance, we can publish them with the Creative Commons license and tell everyone out there beforehand what you are allowed to do with it, right? Creative Commons turns around the asking and process. I publish something on the internet with the Creative Commons license, and you then know what you're allowed to do or not. All right. So and it builds on copyright laws. There's a machine readable text, a human readable text, and there's a legal document behind it. It builds on copyright law. It's been tested in courts, and it's a legal framework to use copyright and enabling sharing. And together, these really make the internet, together with a copyright license, make use of all the technical possibilities on the internet and enables this remixing and the digital technologies and literacies, which we talked about earlier. So this remixing culture really is highlighted and enabled by Creative Commons licenses. And it's maybe a little bit hard to get a grasp of in the beginning, but it can be very easy. I give you some tips what to look at. And it's just remember, it's turning around this asking process. If you see something with a Creative Commons license, you know what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. If you, for instance, see something with a CC BY license, which you've maybe seen some places, then you're allowed to exactly what you see on the screen. You're allowed to reuse the picture, you can revise it, you can crop parts, you can remix it with other licenses, with other pictures or videos, you can redistribute it, and this sounds a little bit complicated, but it means you can share with other people, and you can make a copy for yourself. The copyright owner of this particular image or resource told you that beforehand that you're allowed to do this. Okay, you don't have to ask. Putting something, a CC license on it, told you that you're allowed to do this. There are several different licenses, and we are running out of time, so I will not go through them. And particularly, my tip is, if you're a little bit unsure how to remix these licenses, and if you're creating a collection or an adaptation of someone's work, just stick to the CC BY and maybe to the share alike. Then you're on the safe side. And then you can do anything with it, really. You can also use it in commercial contexts. If you go into the other licenses, which really allow a little bit less to you as a reuser, then you might want to use the other licenses. But for remixing and in your purpose, if you're unsure with it, maybe stick to the CC BY share alike, which are the most free licenses, and the others are a little bit more restricted. Then there's two more symbols you have maybe seen, and that's coming back to my short answer, CC0 and public domain. The pictures on the 3 links I showed earlier, they are published with a CC0 license, most of them, or they are in the public domain. And what that means is, if I'm a copyright holder of a picture, I can publish my picture and say I publish it with a CC0 license. Then it says that I refrain from my copyright. That's basically the simple answer. And no worries if people have to drop out. We're approaching 12 o'clock. Thanks for today. And if things are in the public domain, that means their copyright expired. And if a copyright expires, it's usually about 70 years after the copyright holder dies. Then then works will come to the public domain, and then you can reuse them. And just quickly, what you should do in referencing. This is here. You've seen this in the in this presentation at different parts. This is how you should then refer to this. CC BY means you always have to do, if you reuse a CC work, tell where this was coming from, who the author was, what the title was, and the license which was used. And this is just an example how to do this. Here another example, title, author, and here's the source, the link to the source, and license. You also talk about TESL as an abbreviation. If you want to find more about CC licensed pictures, you can refrain filter searches on Flickr and on Google Pictures even, but I would recommend CC Search because then you can quickly copy and paste also HTML code for your blogging, for instance. And here you have some links, and we'll share the slide. The slides are the slide deck is already up on this webinar event site, so you have all the links. Here you find some best practices for attribution to refer right. So. Hopefully, and now I'm rushing through a little bit, of course, because we had this typical time issue or technical issues in the beginning. Just for your own publications, if you want to attribute and publish works with a Creative Commons license yourself, here is a link to an attribution builder, and tells you a little bit more about this. And this enables you and hopefully makes you a little bit more confident in what you can do. And you can definitely always come back to me and ask me more about it. This was the 5-minute version, which really needs maybe 15 minutes to be a little bit more graspable. But think of when you're reusing CC images, tell where you've got it from, and you can be confident that you can reuse CC BY resources in any way, really. Because the copyright owner gave you permission to it already, you don't have to ask. And this you can use for your blogs or in PowerPoint presentations or in any other way. And it will be a big enabler, and knowing and being able to confidently work with Creative Commons licenses. I lost track of the chat room. I hope, Sinead, you looked there if there was something. I don't know if there's questions about this or comments. It's 12 o'clock now. I just had one final thing. Like this was maybe on. We talked about the digital literacies also in the videos, that it's a continuum, right? You can be, if you think about how your kids, maybe if you have learned or if you remember how you learned how to read and write, digital literacies are as similar as regular literacies, very much a continuum. You might be a little bit literate or very, very literate or fluent. And this introduction with the pictures is maybe in the first steps. I just want to send something with you for the very confident and fluent digital literators around us regarding to WordPress and the little exercise we did there with the breakout rooms. A lot of you started a WordPress blog on WordPress.com. And this is awesome and fantastic. And keep on trying with this and explore it. Some of you had a blog already on WordPress or somewhere else. I just want to tell you that there's a big difference between WordPress.com and a self-hosted WordPress site like we use on Open Network Learning. Because on a regular own blog, which you hosted on WordPress.com, you cannot do install plugins which enable you to do a timeline, as we saw before, which you can do use in courses to talk about the history or process of things when you want to talk about timelines. for that, you need to have a self-hosted WordPress page, and this enables you to really push boundaries and really create amazing stuff out there on the internet. That is that's the very short thing I just wanted to mention about WordPress and regards to digital literacies and what you're able to create out there with digital technology. So having said this, be brave, test new things when you go out there and start with your PBL group. Nothing can go wrong. Well, some things might go wrong, like technology might not work as you wanted to, but it's a really, think of also when you're in your course, it's a learning experience also for yourself. This is, and in particular, ONL is learning from and with each other. Also for us as the course organizers and facilitators. Like there's so much happening. Think of where you came from with the digital literacies and your first devices and where we are today. And it feels sometimes overwhelming. And it is, of course. But let's learn together, let's test new things and keep on building our digital literacies for the sake of us and the students and the stuff we want others to learn. Thanks, guys. We're over time, 5 minutes. Sorry about this. I don't know if you have, I have no rush. Like if you want to hang on and have questions or want to discuss things, be our guest. If you have to rush off and get lunch or breakfast or evening dinner, then wherever your time zone is, thanks for being here today.